about it, do people really get plenty of rest, exercise, fresh air, and sunshine? But the point of this is, you as an individual consider what you're feeding your body, what you're nourishing your body. So as you nourish your body, and as you do the best you can, this physical leg begins to grow. By the way, malnourishment leads to disease, and proper nourishment leads to health. So if you don't feed one of these legs at all, it just starves to death. And if you feed it poorly, malnutrition is present and disease is present. So in spite of the fact that this is a very simple message, it's still a profound message. Now, feeding our body, the body's growing the best we can do, always looking for ways to improve, but the body's doing quite well. Now, come to the mind. What do we feed our mind? Basic things, positive thoughts. All you have to do is pick up a newspaper, watch a television news report. You don't see much positive thoughts, and yet these are the things that are being fed into our minds. Positive people. I think we've all been growing up, and our mother said, I want you to get in with the wrong crowd now. Be sure you hang around with the right crowd. You know, they'll have an influence on you. And as adults, we come along and say, do we get in with the right crowd or the wrong crowd? We have a choice. Books, what books do we read? Now remember, we're feeding our minds with books and people and thoughts. What about movies? A lot of good movies, a lot of bad movies. The choice is ours. Videos, DVDs, television programs, all of these are things that we can choose. We can either feed ourselves this or we can feed ourselves that. One of my favorites is travel. You know, we've heard the expression, travel broadens a person. We might apply this in this case and say travel feeds the mind. Different people, different cultures, different food, different sights feed the mind. Music, wonderful, wonderful thing. The older I get, the more important I see that music really is. All music is not good, but good music nourishes our minds. We'll summarize this and just simply say have a positive attitude. All of these things are affecting our attitudes, which are affecting our minds. Of course, we have many good CDs. We can hear speeches on CDs. All of this is good for the mind. So we just have to be careful what we're feeding our minds. Now again, I told you this was simple. Now, we come to feeding our minds, and obviously as we feed our minds better, our minds continue to grow. This takes diligence. We don't just do this overnight. So, well, that's a good idea. I think I'll do it. We have to break old habits and establish new habits. So now we come to the spirit. Body, mind, what do we feed our spirit? We feed our spirit God's Word. Lots of things that can be fed to the spirit. All of it is not nourishing. Some of it is malnourishment for the spirit. So God's Word, the Bible, is the best and basic food for the spirit. Prophet Jeremiah said, I found God's Word and I did eat it. He just consumed it, and as he consumed God's Word, changes began to occur. So well, how does that occur? When you eat a good apple, how does that affect your body? That's not necessary to know at this point. It's not necessary to know how exactly the positive thoughts affect the mind. It's not necessary to know, well, exactly how does God's Word change? All we have to do is believe that these things, if we do these things and feed our bodies, minds, and spirits right, good things will happen and nourishment will occur and growth and development will occur. Christian fellowship, spend your time with other believers, spend your time in prayer and meditation, and as you do, your spiritual leg will grow. Well, you can see the development along the way. At any point along the way, a person can stop, and suddenly that leg is short, or it's not as strong as it should be. So now, we're going to examine ourselves and see how we're doing. We've been diligently working for years now. This is how we look. Balance. Looks like a stool. You can sit on this stool. It'll support you. Now, the person, if they're not careful, will take a look at this and say, well, you know, I'm doing pretty good. I'm proud of myself. I've come a long ways. I've just developed so much, and this is such a good idea, and I'm just getting along so well. And then all of a sudden, they get busy, pride comes in. They say, well, you know, I don't really have time. I'll just grab a bite here and there, or I know this is good, but I just get so busy, I neglect one of these legs. Any one of the legs that's neglected is going to cause a problem. So we can't neglect one of the legs. We have to continually feed each of these three parts of our beings. But I'll say it again, I don't think I said it earlier, but philosophers for years and years, thousands of years, have talked about us being a three-part being. We're bodies, minds, and spirits. So I say for the umpteenth time, this is nothing new. It's been around for years and years. But I think when you see it in this perspective, then it has a little more meaning to us that we see what we're trying to do. We can almost, we can evaluate ourselves. You say, well, how are you doing? In other words, how am I doing in these three areas? You say, well, I've been neglecting this area, but I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not getting the rest I should, but I'm going to work on that, and so forth, as we continue to grow and develop. Now, my hope is that we as people will help ourselves understand better health, and we in turn will share this message with others. So just because you have an understanding, there are thousands, millions, billions of people who don't understand the importance of feeding these three areas of our body. So it is, say again, I have felt a real calling, if you would, for sharing this message. So I wrote this book, published in 1993. In the year 2007, I wrote a little booklet, just real simple, real short, called A Plan for Better Health. And then I got to thinking about it as I continued to hope to share this message. How can I share it with more and more people? So in 2010, I combined my first book and the little booklet in a book called Better Health and a Plan to Achieve It. Now, we have been talking about, by the way, the subtitle is The Dawning of a New Day and a New You. That's what we're talking about. This can be the dawning of a new day and a new person. So I wanted to get this to as many people as possible. So again, I took this first book and I took this little booklet and I combined them and I revised it, and I set this out again. It was released in the summer of 2010. It was announced through press releases all over the United States. And in September of 2010, the book was displayed in the Beijing, China International Book Fair. And I did this because my purpose is to get this message to as many people as possible. The Beijing Book Fair covers Asia, covers the Eastern Hemisphere. It's a large book fair. And then in October, the book was displayed in the Frankfurt, Germany International Book Fair, which is the oldest book fair in the world, some 500 years old, and basically covers the Western Hemisphere. So the message has gone out around the world, and it has because I see health as one of the most important things that we can ever have. Years ago, there was a commercial that said, when you have your health, you have just about everything. You don't hear that commercial anymore. And I think the reason is most of the people don't have their health, not in a balanced way. So to share this message with people and have them understand their health better, have a plan to follow, I think is critically important. So I want to give you now a website so that you can learn more about this book. The website is www.betterhealthandaplantooachieveit.com. betterhealthandaplantoachieveit.com. It's all one word. betterhealthandaplantoachieveit.com. So you can go, pull this up, look at the website, You can read about the book, you can order the book if you'd like. And interestingly enough, this book is printed on demand. In other words, you place an order and the publisher prints the book. They don't store them in warehouses, they print the book on demand. And I've just learned recently that these print-on-demand companies for this book is all around the world. So a person from Japan, for example, can go to this website, order this book. It will be printed in Tokyo. They can have the book within 3 days from the time they order it. In Australia, it's printed in Australia, and so forth. No international shipping. And so this way, through modern technology, we have a way to spread this message of better health around the world. So it is my purpose with this presentation to impress upon you the importance of better health, to encourage you to continue your investigation. What I've said today is nothing more than an introduction. I don't, you say, well, what about this and what about that? And you didn't mention this. No, I can't mention everything. But I can encourage you to begin your own investigation. And if you'll take this subject diligently and seriously and continue the search, it's my belief that you will improve your health, and you can in turn share this with others, and many, many people can have their health improved. So in conclusion, I wish for you, I believe for you, by following this plan for better health, keeping the parable of the three-legged stool in mind, you can indeed achieve better health.